I come to you with an unusually heavy heart. The world is exceedingly sick, and I'd like to break down the situation, hopefully, to offer a unique perspective. We'll review some of the facts, but I'd like to alert all of you that we're in a serious war, a war of those who are good versus those who are evil. And I can tell you that the evil people have stronger numbers. Oh, it's getting crazy. Good Lord, it's getting crazy. Let's go ahead and get into it. The title of this lecture is What Chud the Builder Taught Us About Black and White People in America. Chud is obviously not a very intelligent person. He is one of the multitude of young people who are without skills. They have no business acumen. They have no real talent. And they make their living being a shock jock, or race baiting, or doing that which is easy. What Chud reveals to us about the white populace in the United States is that they are still as racist as they've ever been. The idea that you could walk around calling people the N-word and get so many supporters only shows us that we are never too far away from the all-out kind of brutality we observed in the transatlantic slave trade. We still observe that colonialism has changed shape, and it's shape shifted into what we see today going on in Gaza. And as has always been the case, where you observe slavery, colonialism, and effective racism, you always have the multitude of bootlickers and house inwards who support it. I want to promise you all that I'll be coming out with the Black Code within 1 week. And that is based on a breakneck schedule as I observe the urgency and the great need. For those of you who are fortunate enough, privileged enough to be able to afford it and appreciate it, I think you'll find that it's extremely raw and straightforward, for the times are quite desperate. So keep an eye out for that. It should be out by this coming Friday. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into these lessons, ladies and saints. I think you'll find that I'm going to be very direct with you, as you found in my content for the last half decade, is that no one will be shielded from the truth. We'll talk about the blacks, we'll talk about the whites, we'll talk about the Arabs, we'll talk about the Asians, we'll talk about the Muslims, we'll talk about the LGBTQ, we'll talk about these people and all others. So let's get into it. Here we go.
So this just in. The man Chud the Builder shot has a name. He's 31-year-old Joshua Fox, an Army veteran, a father of two, and a man currently recovering from...
Okay, so first off, this guy is both a hero and irrelevant and extremely important at the same time. Marquette, what say you? How is he a hero? Well, he's a hero because he did what many blacks didn't have: either the heart, the guts, the convenience, the foolishness, the strategy to do, which is to deal with Chud in the most appropriate way. The fact of the matter is that the reason that the Jewish people are able to dominate is because they're organized and they're extremely ruthless. They have the IDF, they also have the Jewish Defense, what's it called, the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, and much else. That's why you don't speak up on them, because you know there will be harsh consequences. Similarly, at the end of World War II, they had the Nuremberg trials. They were very effective in dealing with their enemies and those who had wronged them. Conversely, you observe the blacks, the most foolish among us, the South Africans, at the end of apartheid, and I say end in air quotes because apartheid is still going on. Instead of punishing the criminals, instead of punishing these murderers the same way that the Jews did in the Nuremberg trial, the black South Africans decided to have a truth and I forget what it was called. I forget the name of this Mickey Mouse thing, but it's like the truth in some such and such commission. And they basically let everyone off scot-free. That's why the whites still control South Africa. They still have apartheid. The blacks are living in impoverished shanty towns. That's because they did not deal with their enemies and they still allowed the colonial powers to stay. It is the only country, was Africa 54 countries? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It's the, Truth and Reconciliation. There was no reconciliation. Of Africa's 54 countries, it's the only African country where the colonial power did not leave. They stayed there and they still control it. the South Africans have an apartheid government, and that is because of the failings of black people, which have been consistent across the planet Earth, except the South Africans are the worst example of it. The black people, I'll describe their nature in the black codes. I'll describe the nature of the black people, of the white people, and so on. But anyways, I say all that to say this. This individual is a hero because he dealt with Chud the Builder. Now, frankly, there are far more strategic and organized ways to do it, but the blacks do not have an organized body that operates on their behalf. So they basically had to wait for this random fellow with PTSD to do what needed to be done. So he's a hero in that regard. He's irrelevant in the fact that he's not ideological, he's not a part of a movement. He is just a random black guy who essentially didn't have self-control. So he's irrelevant in that regard. But he's also important in the sense that he's a military veteran, which shows you how America deals with their veterans. The United States government, the United Snakes of Israel, will take a young person, a young man, throw him into a war. And mind you, they're throwing people who are not warriors into wars. They're throwing everyday people into wars. Their psychology breaks. They come back psychologically, mentally defective. And the United States government leaves them to be homeless, leaves them on psychotropic drugs, or leaves them worse without psychotropic drugs. And then they lurk in our societies to harm us. Because they fought for freedom? No, because they fought for the causes of the plutocrats who run America. And now they're here creating danger for the citizens. They're waging war on the citizens. And you feel sorry for them and you call them war heroes when really they're not heroes. They've been villains to people of color around the world. They've been villains to the people of Afghanistan, villains to the people of Iraq, villains to the people of Libya. You know, they didn't go in uniforms, they went in plain clothes in that case. So he's important because he shows what happens when America discards a young man, uses and abuses him as a hired mercenary, and then sets him free in our society without any help or support. PTSD is a real thing, but I tell you what's realer. What's realer is that he chose voluntarily to go into the army of the devil, the army of his enemy. Yes. And the reason he chose to do that is because he didn't have any guidance and there's no overarching, real guiding culture. That's why I'm releasing the Black Code 1 week from today, approximately. That'll be on Friday. So I've described how he was absolutely a hero as far as black people go, because black people didn't organize to stand up for themselves. I explained why he's completely irrelevant, because he's basically just a random black guy, kind of the same as that other black guy. Who's the one with the neck? George Floyd. He's just a random black guy like George Floyd. He's irrelevant in the grand scheme. But he's also important because he represents the way that black people, people of color, continue to be used by the plutocrats. And what's worse is that the white people, you know, are not being treated any better because even white identity and culture has broken down. I was at the Bill Burr show. By this table would be great. Thank you. I was at the Bill Burr show this weekend, and yeah, right here, it's great. And it was overwhelmingly white because Bill Burr is white. He's a funny guy. He's clever, so I'm happy to check out the show. You can sign that for me. I'm happy to check out the show, and we got great floor seats. It takes freaking forever to get the show started because all of the whites came in late. Now, they used to say black folks are late. They call it colored time. You arrived on CP time. Well, the whites are coming in extremely late, and what's worse is it's even the whites who have money and have great seats. It lets you know that culture has broken down across the board, especially in the West. There are no values. So we now have a war of people with values and people without values. A war between good people and evil people. A war between people who are sane and people who are mentally unwell. Huh? Come on now. Are one of those cakes actually hot? You have to catch her. She have to take that back. Is one hot or not? Oh, it is? Okay, great. So the nature of the whites has not changed. The same percentage of them are grimy, the same percentage of them are decent people, the same percentage of them are sympathetic. But you have to know that clearly a majority of them choose racism. Donald Trump, if you support Donald Trump at this point, you chose racism. Yes, it's very simple. And all of the evidence is there. And if you don't believe in white privilege, you'd have to ask yourself, well, what are the Epstein files? It's an exercise in white privilege. No one's been indicted. No one's gone to jail. It's an exercise in white privilege. But any black person or any person with melanin who thinks that you're in a society where you are going to get fairness or there will be equal protection under the law is sadly mistaken. Our legal system is freaking unpredictable. Money perverts it. Race perverts it. Marquette, what do you mean? Well, what I mean is that if black people do not press the issue, Chud will not be punished to the proper extent of the law. He is a public nuisance. He's gone around insulting people such that he could incite violence. That is a public nuisance. If black people are not planning to organize, and depending on if my schedule allows, I'll probably try to be out there with some good people on the ground protesting to make sure that it is known that he must experience consequences. And what I'll tell you, what's more, is if he doesn't experience consequences within the legal system, he needs to experience extra legal consequences beyond it. And you might say, Marquette, that's not civil. Is it not civil? You ever heard of a place called Rosewood? You ever heard of the many towns of black people that were burned to the ground when the white mob did not feel like they were going to get justice quickly enough? Huh? Yes. You ever hear about Emmett Till? You ever hear about the woman who falsely accused Emmett Till, a child? Then his life was taken. He was brutally beaten beyond recognition. And then years later, decades later, she admitted that she lied about it. And then she didn't get punished at all for it. Huh? You see, you'll only be protected when you can protect yourself. That's the only guarantee. Just like in boxing, I tell people, if you don't like the decision of the judges, you should have knocked out the opponent, taking it into your own hands. Huh? I've told you for years we're in revolutionary times. I've told you for years. But the black people are sleeping, and when the black code comes out, I'm going to give you the blueprint as to how to clean our house. You see, you think that the biggest issue is the colonizer. You think the biggest issue are those devils. No, my dear boy, the biggest issue are the traitors. You got to clean house. It's the traitors first. You got to deal with them first. Life writes, let Mr. Burton know you're in here. Oh, absolutely. Hit the like button. All of that. Majesty writes, tuition, peace of the saints. Appreciate you. May I also acknowledge Nicaragua writes, all facts, peace of the saints in a real way. May I also acknowledge Rank writes, peace of the saints. Shout out to Antonio. Came in supporting the work. I appreciate you. Yeah, we're going to talk about it today. You know, I find it comical that black people are so goofy. I hear them say things like, oh, how's this happening in 2026? You doofus. You think the year on the calendar changes the nature of humankind? You think the year on the calendar is going to stop power politics? You think the year on the calendar is going to reduce tribalism? You think the year on the calendar is going to pull racism out of a people who have been racist for generations? What kind of fool are you? Yeah, how's this happening in 2026? Nigga, it's happening the same way in 2026 that it would have happened in 1826. Because the white man remains unchanged, and as does the black man remain unchanged. Weak. Huh? Only a fool would say something like that. And we must deal with the fools within our midst first. They are dangerous. Like Amru Fuddle, for example. These beings are dangerous. They're more dangerous than any white person or white man who's hateful. Because you might look at an Amru Fuddle and think he's one of us. And you'd be sadly mistaken. He's a deceiver and a betrayer. You must be dealt with. Huh? Yeah, we're getting into it today. Shout out to Daz. He got the limited edition white athletic shorts. They're mesh. And shout out to the folks who are going to be at the Big Game Conference. I look forward to seeing you there. If you haven't gotten your ticket from the Big Game Conference, or if it said sold out, I apologize. The site shut off the tickets early. So we do have a couple of tickets. My apologies for those who reached out. Shout out to Dorian, came in supporting the work using the Stripe link. Appreciate you. I also acknowledge Mr. Morris came in supporting using the Stripe link as well. And Mr. Patino, mind you, I see your email. We'll get back with you. And as well, Mr. Nias, we will get back with you. Shout out to Nathan, comes in via Venmo. He writes, thank you for your insight via wisdom.com. Taking everything into consideration. Peace of the saints. Oh, you're very welcome. And I've gotten a lot of fascinating questions as of late on wisdom, and so many things that I would love to share when I get time. I'm in very busy times. I trust many of you are too, working harder than ever. And, but I just want to say to you all, and I really hope you guys take this seriously. Through all of the things that are going on, family is the most important thing. Within the Assassin, everything we do is modeled on family. I really want you guys to take that seriously, because when you can't count on anything, you'll be able to count on family. Sometimes family are not those persons with whom you share blood. Sometimes family are those persons whom you choose to embrace as family, where there's mutual appreciation, respect, there's reciprocity. But family is going to be there for you when you don't have enough money, when you need to make ends meet, when you're down and depressed, when you're getting through struggle. Family is everything. Family and tribe. And we understand family, but we don't understand tribe and community. For example, that's why Chud the Builder is able to exist. You see, if we had tribe and community, because a community and a tribe has a chief. A chief is a man with a plan, yes? And a tribe has a set of warriors who protect the tribe and community. There's no damn way that it makes sense that you should allow this fellow, who, mind you, Chud is a sexual deviant, Skittle guzzler. There's no reason in hell you should allow this Skittle guzzler to walk around with a cameraman calling black people the N-word. And I don't say that because the N-word is so offensive. By the way, for those asking me questions in the live chat, use the Venmo or the PayPal or the information in the description like everybody else, or the super chat feature. Don't disrespect yourself, and don't disrespect the people who actually have sent in their questions in the appropriate manner. Now, as I was saying, there's no reason to let a Skittle guzzler walk around with just him and a cameraman disrespecting the black people. Why is that? Is it because the N-word is so hurtful? No, the N-word means nothing. It means nothing. It has no meaning. It only has the meaning that you give it. But what it does let people know is that aggressions against us will be tolerated. And what happens when you allow a bully to operate? More bullies pop up, and the bullies become emboldened, and the bullies want to take more liberties. So you do like the Jewish people do. You nip it in the bud. Yes, and that's why I'm releasing the black code early before I even want to, because black people are in such disrepair. It's disgusting. Honestly, it's disgusting. And I mean every bit of that. And I cannot wait to get to house cleaning. Yeah, I can't wait to get to house cleaning. Yeah, we're going to get into it today, ladies and saints. I promise you. I promise you. And when I release this black code, it shall be followed to the T. I'm not releasing any recommendations. I'm releasing that which is mandatory. And those who are off code, we shall punish each and every last one of them as traitors. They are not like us, because we are in desperate times. We don't have time to be nice. We don't have time to figure things out. No, we have to execute on a plan, ladies and saints. Yes. And let me tell you something. Here's the difference between those other persons who purport to be leaders. They're not leaders. The black people need a military strategist. You hear me? For example, with Chud the Builder, what really should have happened is when he goes around, trying to antagonize black people, no one should attack him, because that would be on camera and that would have evidence that would go against you. As a military strategist, what I'm asking myself is, why didn't anybody attack the cameraman? Why didn't anybody get the cameraman? You see, that would have been more strategic. You get the cameraman, then the camera, the live stream goes out. You confiscate the phone. There's no visual evidence. Now you deal directly with the problem. Then it's problem solved. You hear me? Come on now. And I'd be able to arrange the whole thing so that it'd be smooth like butter. But you need a military strategist. In the black code, I'll elaborate on that. But the fact that black people allow this rascal to run around for so long, utterly pathetic. And mind you, we have some saints who have been in prison. We have some saints who, hell, on their way to jail. That's fine. Make sure when you get there, you spread the ism. because a lot of our brothers and sisters who are incarcerated, that's our warrior class. Everyone is born to be something. Some women are born to be concubines. Some of them they're going to not make it through life. They're the weaklings. They should have been sorted out through natural selection, survival of the fittest. They shouldn't have survived, but they're here. And some people are born to be warriors. But the problem is when you are a warrior, you are part of a warrior class, but you don't have a nation and you don't have a general. So you fall to being a gang member or a petty criminal. Huh? That's our warrior class locked up in prison. So if any of you end up in prison, you make sure you spread the ism while you're there. Huh? You make sure you spread the ism. Yeah, we're going to get this done. Anyways, may I acknowledge Xavier came in via Venmo. Guys, there's a video of black females on TikTok stating that Chud is attractive despite knowing what he thinks about them. Are black women black men's greatest enemy? Women in general are men's greatest enemy because fundamentally all of them are dishonest and immoral. There's just levels, and you're trying to find one that has a low level of immorality, a low level of dishonesty. Like if you leave them to their own devices, they're not going to act in a moral way. They don't have principles to say, hey, that behavior is unacceptable. That moral standard is too low. It mostly has to come from a man. So if the father is not there to enforce morality, then the girl will be lost. We observe it all the time. There's a whole website where you can find these women. It's called OF. Now, with regards to the black females, as I said, traitors will be dealt with. Traitors will be dealt with. If you are a black female acting as a bed wench with the enemy, you will be dealt with, and there will be no mercy. There will be no mercy. There will be no nice words. There will be no compromise. Either you are going to get on board or you're going to be laid down. There will be no mercy. And the traitors have to go first. And those are traitors. Any black woman wearing a wig is a traitor. Any black woman bleaching her hair blonde is a traitor. Any white woman bleaching her hair blonde, if you're not blonde, you are a self-hater. Come on now. Yeah, we don't have time. And I'll tell you, in the black code, we give you a pattern of thinking. We give you pattern of speech that helps you not engage the foolishness, because I always tell you guys, the number one tool of the devil is deception. How could you explain to a devil, hey, when you bleach your hair blonde or when you straighten your hair, you're trying to look like the people who hate you and think you're inferior. You're validating to them that they're superior because you're trying to imitate them. What are they going to do in response to your logic? They're going to lie. They're going to deceive. Hence, you waste your words to even try to converse with them. Yeah, you waste words to converse with them. Look at this animal here, this weak male. I'm done with you guys. You don't follow the ism. He writes, come on, Saint, that's harsh. No hair dye. You are a traitor and you will be laid down as well. We don't have time for fence sitters. We have no time for you. You are a traitor. Officially, a fence sitter has now been converted to traitor. There is no fence sitting. There is no middle ground. You're on the side of good or you're on the side of evil. Be a man. Pick your side. If not, we'll push you to the other side and deal with you. There is no man who allows his woman to be out of line. If you are a black woman wearing the hair of a white woman, you are out of line and you disrespect everything that it is to be black. To wear a white woman's hair is like to try to wear a white woman's skin. It's like to bleach your skin, to negate the self. Self-mutilation, that's always been categorized as mental illness. There will be no fence sitters here. So unfollow me, block me, do all that, because I consider you an enemy. Stay away from me. We're too far down. We're too far down. We don't have time. Sorry. I'm sorry. There's no time to be nice with you guys anymore. You're dirt to me. You're not even dirt, because the dirt is soil that can grow up things of value. You're not even dirt. You're dust. You're barely even dust. You're irrelevant matter. Carrying on. And you're not even a man to me. Honestly, if this was 4000 BC, you'd be horrified at what I would do to you guys. You males, you weak males, you'd be horrified. But I promise you, once I start taking care of the first couple ones, everybody else will straighten up. Okay? Yeah. Everybody else will straighten up. Anyways, shout out to Wayne. Came in supporting the work. Writes, peace to the saints. Peace to the saints indeed. Assassin or nothing. Assassin or nothing. It's you messing with this ism or you're nothing. Shout out to Wayne. He writes, more tuition for this topic, sir. Appreciate you. Shout out to Mr. Mohammed. He writes, why are black people so forgiving? It's in the nature. It's in the blood. Marquette, please elaborate on that with your infinite wisdom. I'd be happy to. Thank you for that question. We hear a lot from evolutionary psychologists, evolutionary biologists, but so often they don't want to make any meaningful differentiations with race, and I think that we should. We know that the black, the white, the Asian are different. I mean, they look different. So is the difference only skin deep? Of course not. Of course it's deeper than that. We've observed that. There's data to tell us that. But for example, if you look at the design of us, shall we say design, the black people, we have full lips. The lips cover over the teeth. You ever notice there's certain animals that when they're trying to menace you or intimidate you, they show the teeth. You know, like dogs, they start growling, they reveal the teeth, which is to say, this is what I will destroy you with. These are weapons. This is what I will eat you with. This is to intimidate and menace you. The whites are more vicious animals. Like if all of the varieties of man, the races, if they were all breeds of dog, the whites are clearly the bully breed. They're clearly the bully breed. Look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Look at the body count. They eliminated the Native Americans, not only in the continent of North America, but also South America. Do you know how many bodies that is? They colonized in Asia. They colonized all of Africa. Do you know how many bodies that is? We're talking genocide here, folks. Australia. There's a group of people called the Aborigines, largely devastated. And then the whites from Britain went over there and pretended it was theirs. Look at the bodies. They're the bully breed of the humans, of the human varieties. The whites, they're the bully breed. It's very clear. Very clear. And very deceptive too. Look at this. This is one of the devils right here. He's angry. They won't ever come on though. Here's why. The truth is a sharp sword. It slices. They don't want to come on and get cut by the truth. So they stay and hide in the comments. They make silly comments, but notice he didn't try to refute my arguments. My arguments are sound. They're all based on facts. So anyways, back to evolutionary biology. So some animals, they show the teeth to intimidate, to menace you. And you know, the whites, they don't have an upper lip. You see when they smile, the upper lip disappears and it shows the teeth, the menacing feature on the human being. Yes? They are the bully breed. The blacks have this menacing feature concealed with large full lips. Huh? Yes. And if you look at the whites, they evolved in Ice Age. That's why their skin has that see-through feature, allows them to get the vertical rays of the sun, the vitamin D, and the other things that are needed to sustain their life. Yes. Also going through an ice age and also going through seasons in Europe and the Caucasus Mountains, they have to be planners. You see, if you are in an environment where there's going to be a harsh winter, you have to plan when there is the spring and the harvest. You have to plan for the winter. They're rational. They're calculated. Whereas the silly blacks are in a land of abundance where there is big game that you can travel with, and there's no cold winter, there's no harsh winter. You don't have to plan for it. You can live in the moment. You can enjoy. You can deal in abundance. Africa then and now is resource rich. Europe, not so much. That's why they go around the whole planet Earth stealing from every other people. Yes? So you say, well, why are the blacks so forgiving? It's the wiring. The wiring, they're understanding, they're welcoming, they're open. They're foolish. They're easygoing. They're not calculated. They're present focused. The present. Yeah? Makes it hard to compete with those who are calculated, ruthless, and planning for the future. And they're planning to take what you have when you feel like you have a lot. Yes, that's a problem with the blacks. So their nature, they must be trained against certain aspects of their nature. That's why the black code is created. And there have been no black leaders to date who have understood well the nature of black people and been honest about the nature of black people, and then created a program to overcome the frailty in that nature. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been great at understanding the nature of the white man, but he wasn't great at understanding the nature of the black man and mitigating the weaknesses in it. Come on now. Shout out to Miles. He writes, peace of saints. Thank you, Saint. Wisdom response on the floor playing games. I'm still talking to other girls and smashing other chicks while I talk to her with a date lined up tomorrow. Also, this video is needed. I'm ready for the black code, the ism safe slash. I'm trying to tell you, man, it really does. And I want to let everybody know here. I made a post on Instagram, and there are a bunch of whites on the post who said, now mind you, there's variety to the whites, just like there's should I say diversity within the whites, as there is diversity within the blacks. But most of the people who are disagreeing with a dog being in a restaurant were white. Not surprising. And mind you, if you're a sensible white person in the live chat who's like, hey, I don't eat with dogs at my dinner table, let us know. We'd like to know that you exist. There are a couple black perverts in the chat as well. But anyways, look at this. You see the mentally ill. And I invite any white person who's on stream right now to come on and discuss. Now, mind you, I tell you their chief tool is deception. And in their deception, they come in the live chat, they say all of this stuff, but they'll never come on stream. Why? They're terrified. They're terrified. They know they'll get intellectually dominated. And I have an open platform as always. They've seen my work. They're terrified. Anyways, so you have the whites on there talking about, no, it's all good. We can have dogs in the restaurant. That's perfectly clean. Dogs are cleaner than you. They never go through the science on how dogs are so clean. How are they so clean? Can you explain that to me? Do they take baths? Are they self-cleaning? Why do they stink? Like, can you explain this if dogs are so clean? They can never explain it because they're lying. They're deceivers. You even have some sick blacks in there. There was one disgusting black female, and she had wrote that she feeds her dogs and even lets them lick the silverware. And I believe her. I've seen these ones. Now, the women of a given race can easily be lost because women are herd animals. They're social animals, even more so than males. So it's easy for them to be swept away and do what everyone else is doing, or to be influenced by the culture, however immoral it may be. And when I tell you that the Black Code is going to be a guide on how to lead and to live, and the black woman is subject to the black man, and she will be put on program, 100%, 100%. And I want everybody to know that we are not operating on the law of the United Snakes of America. The United Snakes of America has no moral authority. And I want every black person to know that you are a captive in the hells of North America. You're a captive. You're a prisoner of war, stupid. You didn't realize that, did you? Did you come here on the Mayflower? No, you came here on a slave ship named Jesus. Now just imagine how goofy you would be to be a religious Christian. You came on a slave ship named Jesus, my boy. Yes, the white Christians enslaved you. Doesn't sound very godly now, does it? Sounds like more like the work of a devil. But anyways, essentially you lost a war. You're a prisoner of war, and you are the descendants of those who were defeated in war, and you're in the hells of North America as a captive. I say that to say this, understand me. When the whites were in my Instagram saying, hey, it's okay for dogs to be in a restaurant. No, it's okay in your sick culture for dogs to be in a restaurant. In my civilized culture, based on my instinct, based on my nature and my blood, it is disgusting for a dog to be somewhere where food is consumed. In fact, it's disgusting for any animal to be there unless they're on a plate and they've been properly prepared for consumption. That is your culture. I am not a white man. I am not a white woman. I am the black man, and we do not live like that. It is not in our culture. Our blood is different. Marquette, what do you mean? How do you know it's the blood? If you look in Europe, how many countries have laws against LGBTQ? Zero. In fact, oppositely, they have protections for LGBTQ. If you look in Africa, how many countries have laws against LGBTQ? It's about 34 out of 51, right? That's a lot. That's a majority. And in fact, the punishments are quite harsh. And you can see in the Middle East as well, they have laws against this kind of thing. Why? Because it is not in our blood. Our blood is different. Our blood causes us to think differently and have different morality. It is the facts. It is surely the facts. Now, this is comical. As I say, the white supremacists, their chief tool is deception. Marquette, well, what do you mean? You notice the white supremacists try to like, oh, blacks are gay. How, Sway? You guys come from Europe. That's the white people factory. If you go to Europe, they're the most pro-gay you'd ever want to find. Black factory is in Africa. You go to Africa, they're the most anti that you'll ever find. So please justify what you're saying. Huh? They can't. There's no logic there. Now, Marquette, why do they hate you the most? They hate me the most because most blacks are not very gifted intellectually. They're just not. They don't speak great English. They don't think well. And they're not a threat because they're sweet and nice. Even when you find a smart one every now and then, they're so sweet and nice. They want to be nice or they want to be white. I don't want to be white at all. I damn sure don't want to be nice. And I have the intellect to slice them up. Oh yeah, and I'm not scared at all. So they hate me because I'm a threat. I'm a real threat. A heterosexual, intelligent black man who's scared of nothing whatsoever. I'm scary. I'm terrifying. That's why they're bothered by me. It's very simple. What kind of black guy do they like? They like a Trevor Noah. Why? Because he's barely black. Like a Barack Obama. He's barely black. Who else do they like? They like a Don Lemon. Why? Because he's a Skittle guzzler. He's the enemy of black progress. He's stopping everyone's bloodline because he can't procreate. He's quote unquote married to a white man. Come on. What are we talking about here? Let's be real. Let's be real. Huh? Yeah, I'm going to get you guys cleaned up. Have no fear. Shout out to Quantum. He writes, it's funny how some try to justify his actions by citing free speech. Again, why do they say free speech? It's because they are masters of deception. It's not about free speech. And more importantly, let us not forget, free speech was not about exercising it upon your fellow citizen. It was about protecting the citizens from the government limiting free speech. That was actually what that's about. So when they say free speech, it's a cloak. It's naked racism. Why is it that their free speech is always anti-black racism? Why is their free speech not anti-LGBTQ? Why is their free speech not anti-white? Why is their free speech consistently anti-black? And it's funny because we're a minority. So it's like, why are you picking on the small guy? Well, it's because they hate you. Here, hey, blacks. Officer Tatum, Candace Owens. Hey, come here. They hate you, little buddy. That's why. It's always about you because they hate you. That's why, in case you were curious. He writes, however, free speech does not include going around harassing people with hate speech. These racists aren't as cunning as they think. Well, I mean, it's working, so they're cunning at a level, right? Because it's working. Shout out to Truth. He writes, Saint, have you seen Myron's take on this? I have not. He writes, it was actually disturbing defending this goof. If this was an Asian person, it would be yeah, I agree. Well, Myron's always going to say things that are foolish. Well, why is that, Marquette? Because he doesn't have a culture. Well, I thought he was Sudanese. Yeah, but is he? Because he never talks about Sudanese politics. There's been an ongoing genocide in Sudan. There's been ongoing civil war in Sudan. There's huge intervention from the UAE. Yes, and even folks coming in from Chad, weapons and resources. He never talks about Sudan because he grew up in the United States, subsumed in a majority culture of whites. And when you're dominated by one group, you tend to look at them as the power holders and people want to go with the winners. So he was disconnected from his group, which would have been Sudanese. But even being Sudanese, he's still not in a real group because the Sudanese, the ones that he's a part of, like the ones that are kind of mixed with Arab, the ones who speak Arabic, the ones who are a result of Arab imperialism, utilized or forwarded using Islam. I know there's a lot of Muslims in my audience, and shout out to the Muslims. Love the Muslims, but we got to be real here. Islam has been a tool of Arab imperialism. That's the fact. And Arabs have enslaved a lot of blacks, and it has caused mixed race people in parts of Africa. And they are the ones who have tried to eliminate the true Africans, the pure blood ones who are actually from there. Yeah, we're talking about the Dinka. We're talking about the blue-black Sudanese. We're talking about those beautiful, tall brothers and sisters who are like 7 feet tall, some of the tallest people in the world, most extraordinary genetics. We're talking about those genetic masterpieces. And then you have essentially the Arab blacks, which are the mixed race ones, the Muslim ones who are basically forwarding Arab imperialism. Huh? How about that? How about that? So he's a part of that group, yes? And he's a complete hypocrite. How are you going to be a Muslim and you have a dog? Everyone who follows the Deen of Islam knows that dogs are considered unclean and you cannot be in a pure state even after wudu, you'd have to do wudu to be able to pray and purify yourself. You can't even make salah if you have dog hair on you. He's a fake Muslim. He said he was polygynous, and then he said that during the little documentary, and the chick looks at him like he was a madman, which means he was lying to the audience. He's phony. He's going to say whatever sells. Now remember this, America is 60% white. So if you want to make the most money, you need to appeal to the biggest group, the whites. Not only is it 60% white, the people who have most of the money are white. So if you want to make the most money, you need to appeal to whites. That's smart. That's smart business-wise. Now, the problem is he's immoral. He doesn't have any morals. That's the issue. But check this out. He doesn't matter. Like, that's the problem, is that black people are so concerned with that which doesn't matter. He's not black. He's like some mixed race guy who has an identity issue. Why do people care? And if you do care, let's get something done. You heard me? Yeah, let's get something done. Yeah, that's the thing about the whites, is that they're hateful enough that they take action. Marquette, what do you mean? They colonized so many countries that if I would start to name them, you guys would get bored. They take action. Pure hatred, violence. They take action. So if you feel that way about somebody, learn from the whites. Take action. Shout out to Rashawn, who writes, respect to you, Saint, tuition for more of this ism. May I also acknowledge Mr. Brewer. He writes, I used to think being saintly meant showing mercy endlessly. Foolishness. You've brought me to a greater understanding of this concept. The saint does the hard job. Most are too cowardly to do. Peace of saints. You are correct. You are correct. Love means discipline. If you love a child, you'll have to punish the child every now and then so that the child is rightly guided and heads in the correct direction. Love means limitations. If you are the protector of someone that you love, you have to limit them. Hey, don't do that. That's dangerous. Don't go that way. That's a dark road. Love is not what you see in the Disney movie. Shout out to Rashawn, came in supporting the work. Appreciate you. Yes, people don't understand love. We're in a very effeminized, sick society because the white man has fallen. Now the white woman controls him. And now that women are leading Western civilization, oh, we're all down bad. But I won't have it. I'm going to die trying. Shout out to Ray. He writes, question, if we were to fall under Chinese rule, I don't think that'll happen during our lifetime, would life for everyone everywhere be better than current times? No, sir. Being ruled by a Chinese man is not better than being ruled by a white man. No man is happy being ruled. Shout out to Gary. And that was the whole goal of enslavement and colonialism, is to make you dependent on another, to make you think it was a natural state. A man cannot exist under that. Only a boy can exist under that. Only a female can exist under that. A man cannot exist under that. So that was the whole goal, is to rob us of manhood. Men have testosterone. Men fight. That's why we have a track on the album called Marquettism. It's called Good Men Fight. Shout out to Jalen supporting the work via Stripe. Good men fight. You see, they wanted you to idolize Martin Luther King because he was a coward. Yes, he was a coward. His strategy was cowardly. He was great at making a speech, but his strategy was cowardly. They'd much rather you idolize him. Then they can predict what you're going to do, which is nothing. Huh? Yes. Yes, indeed. Thomas says, Amru crashed out on you today, called you a nobody, snake, cloud chaser, and way more. His latest live stream timestamp 2 hours, 6 minutes. I don't believe that, but if he did, I mean, God bless him. God bless him. I moved into his building. I got a place bigger than his. So he can tell me that to my face. Yes. But I advise him to be careful with his words. I advise everybody to be careful with their words, because I'm not like anybody on the internet. I'm the real deal. I advise everybody. And Myron knows, when he was talking crazy about Abba and Preach, he begged me to teach him how to box because he was scared. I've never been scared in my life. I'd advise him to watch his words. If he said what you said he said, I advise him to watch his words. Shout out to Rockstar Tony writes, being that you have to appeal to whites, do you think Michael J actually did have a skin disease, or was it strategic business to become a bigger star? The sad thing is that vitiligo is a real disease. People do lose skin pigment. You can see them all. You can see white people with vitiligo. You can see Latinos, blacks with vitiligo. It's a real disease. He very well may have had it. And the sad thing is when people are famous or they have clout or something like that, the truth is we start to look at them differently. Famous people get diseases. Famous people have accidents. Famous people have challenges. Famous people use the restroom. So yeah, no, he very much so could have had a disease. And it appears in the biopic that was just done that it was reflected in that, and that one was done by his family. So probably that was the case. Sometimes the truth is simple. Shout out to the Fire King writes, I agree with what you said earlier about fence sitting. Can you have your mod take at Immortal Stigma out of timeout so I can support? Thanks. I'm not a troll. I don't know if he can take you out of timeout. Please do. And thanks for the support. And we don't do trolls. We don't do trolls. See, a gentleman right here says, I've met a white girl that had vitiligo. Yeah, it's a real disease. It's a real disease. I don't think, but I don't know. And we'll never know. Thank you for your question. Wayne writes, no pain, no gain. Great change requires great sacrifice. Yes, indeed. Now, also acknowledge Mr. Muhammad writes, to follow up on my question as to why black people are forgiving, I appreciate your explanation. You're right, abundance and having too much didn't turn us into savages and cutthroats. What do you think we should do that'll unite us as a race because religion isn't doing it? Well, the thing is, those are not our religions. Yes? Islam is the religion of the Arab man. Judaism, as you understand it, is the religion of the Ashkenazi, which is the white man. Christianity, that is most prevalent among black people, is also the religion of the white man. You'll have a lot of blacks who are low IQ and dishonest, and they'll say, oh, Christianity originated in Africa. Yeah, okay, buddy, shut up. The religion of Christianity that most black people follow came from Europe and Europeans. So religion does absolutely work. It's just that black people don't have their own religion. The Black Code is what and I discussed this in the Black Code, so look into it. Shout out to Jarvis. He writes, peace of saints. What do you know about private citizenship? Not a thing. Thank you for your question. And also acknowledge Ramon writes, tuition, peace of the saints. Tuition, indeed. Shout out to Civilized Barbarian writes, these Sambos and KKK Keishas are our biggest enemies. 100%. 100%. Shout out to Michael. He writes, peace of saints. Hope you're doing well this evening, sir. Looking forward to your thoughts on this topic. Oh, it's my pleasure, and I am well. He comes back. He writes, your book is coming at the perfect time. We're definitely living in trying times right now. Listen, we have no idea how trying these times are. Like the breakdown of family, the breakdown of, listen, tribe. You guys don't even know what tribe is. Anytime someone tries to create a tribe, people call it a cult. They think it's a cult because they're so used to living separated. Like, we don't know what a community is. You call it a cult because you don't know what a community is. It's so strange. Black people are brainwashed by these devils. The idea that you should not live among people who share your values and will watch over your property and your life is ridiculous. The idea that if you encounter an emergency, you call 911 thinking a stranger cares. That's the most bizarre idea on earth. To outsource your safety to strangers. And in the case of black people, it's even funnier because remember, when you wanted to vote, it was the police that stopped you. Remember, when you wanted your kids to go to a better school, it was the police that sprayed you with water hoses. Y'all don't remember that? How all of a sudden are the police your friends? Any one of you N-words, they'll put their knee on your neck like you're, I forget the black guy's name. Who's the black guy's knee on the neck? George Floyd. Yeah, they'll George Floyd any one of you N-words. Hey, here's the kicker though. They'll George Floyd any one of you whites as well. That's how ugly it is out here. Like, that's how corrupt the government is. They don't care about anybody. Like, you guys are goofy, man. Like, utter goofiness. Shout out to Jonathan supporting the work. Appreciate you. Good to see you again. Shout out to the Saints. Like, I actually know my people. Shout out to Mr. Naeem. He writes, peace of Saints. That's awesome news about the Black Code. I picked up a lot more hours I picked up a lot more hours this past week, and that's a purchase I'm definitely looking forward to making. Marquettism is for the kids. Marquettism saves lives. You ain't never lied. 100% for the kids. Shout out to Amari. He writes, enjoying Miami. I am. Miami's been great to me. And that's why I said people in Miami running their mouth. I'm outside all the time. And anytime anybody in Miami wants an issue, like just request it. When you see me, request the issue. When you see me request the issue, I'll give it to you. Promise you. Shout out to Melvin writes, peace to the saints tuition. Peace to the saints indeed. I also acknowledge Jalen. Oh yeah, and by the way, if little buddy was running his mouth, you guys let him know on live stream. Marquette said you don't need to say anything on live stream. Go knock on my door. You heard me? Yeah, or ask me to meet you in the lobby. We can work this out. We can work this out ASAP. Because he doesn't want that. He better stop letting the internet get him gassed up. Because I want everybody to know for the fact, when he was talking about Abba and Preach, he asked me to teach him how to fight. So you already know he's a scary individual. You don't want smoke with the big dog. I'm a monster. If you were scared of Abba and Preach, you might as well consider me a monster. And remember, you asked me to teach you how to fight. Let me promise you, whatever you would have learned from that point in which you asked me to teach you how to fight, something your father should have did, from that time to this time, I've been training all that time. I was also training 10 years before that. And also I did things you'd be scared to do. You might as well not let the internet get you hurt. Don't let the internet do that to you, boy. You shut your mouth just like you've been doing. You keep your mouth closed like you've been doing. That'll keep you safe. Because we live in the same building. Let the record record. I moved into Myron's building. We live in the same building. So ask yourself, is Marquette scared at all if he moved into your building? It almost seemed like not only is he not scared, he's comfortable. Not only is he scared, he's his usual cocky self. Don't play with him. Don't play with him. Don't let the internet do that to you. And that goes for Fresh. That goes for the Jewish guy who runs them, Gary, their Jewish manager. That goes for him too. That goes for all of them. Yeah, don't let the internet get you in trouble. Anyways, Jalen writes, I took your empty leg idea and built PJ routes. AI is helping me ship fast, and I run multiple startups at once. How do you feel about AI and the business opportunities with it in the near future? I think there's good business opportunities. I think that running multiple businesses is not a good idea if you don't have any successful businesses. So I tell you guys all simplicity and oneness. There's one saint who had reached out to me, and I can tell you that it honestly made me angry, because it's like, you have to fight to make money. You got to fight to make money. But the comedy is that a lot of broke people fight to stay poor. You got to fight to make money, but people also fight to stay poor. Marquette, what do you mean? One of the saints has a business. He took my AI course, which you guys can get at school.com, skool.com/Marquette, MARQUETT/classroom. Or you can just go to school.com/Marquette, click classroom. My AI course teaches you how to create mobile applications, web applications using AI with no coding experience, and most importantly, how to monetize it, how to make money. Teaches you about revenue models, marketing, etc. So he created an app during my course. He started making money on a technology he created in my course during the course before we even finished it. Most recently, he made a sale on his technology. And he was asking me about optimizing. That's the kind of conversation I love to have. How do we optimize? How do we scale? Then he said, hey, I got another idea for another app. And I'm just like, see, that makes me mad. Because now you're playing games. It's like you're getting closer to the bag and you're just like, you don't want it. Like you're playing games right now. You see, and I was just saying this earlier, like me, I've never fumbled a bag in life. I don't fumble bags. I caress the bag, I cradle the bag. Like I treat the bag with the care of a newborn baby. I'm really about it. You dig? I've never fumbled a bag. If I get an opportunity, I'm really gonna maximize it. And I'm just tripped out like, damn, buddy, like you just made sales and now you're talking about doing a new business instead of talking about multiplying sales. Do you not want to make money? Because if you don't want to make money, like stop bothering me. I'm not here to make millions. I'm here to make millionaires. That's why I'm trying to dedicate my time to helping you guys so that you can become something big and you can recontribute back into our tribe, back into the greater society. So I got to deal with serious people here. Like when you start doing stuff like that, it's like you're not serious yet. And I did that myself, but that was before I had the knowledge. I've shared the knowledge with you guys. I've shared the knowledge. If you're not ready to use it, man, you got to go sit down somewhere. Shout out to Teddy with the first baller alert. He writes, spit that ism, big homie. Talk your ish, big homie. Live well, big homie. I appreciate you, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. And that's why I'm telling all those other little rascals, like, hey, y'all need to keep y'all mouth closed. Because if you ain't ready to go Chud the Builder, and listen, it ain't going to be an easy one. Chud the Builder was dealing with a nut, and he shot himself. You're going to have to be willing to pull that thing out and bust it like Chud. And if you ain't willing to do all that, don't bring me up. Sit down and shut up. Don't bring me up. Shout out to Ray. He writes, you're 100% right. I'll never forget that viral video of the college white kid being forced to crawl to the police while repeatedly being told to stop on a dime and fall on his face while putting his hands behind his head until SWAT lit him up with army guns. Bro, I'm trying to tell you, man, the police are cold out here. It does not matter. You can be white, black, blue, or see-through. Shout out to Mr. Brown Rice, Peace of the Saints, here for tuition. Okay. Curious way to write that. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. May I also acknowledge... Okay, cool. We're caught up there. Yes, sirree, Bobby. Shout out to Afrofuture, comes in a strong way. He writes, I'm a big fan of yours, but I must admit I was taken back by some of your content. Can you explain how dragging ignorant people on your stage to degrade, I think you meant degrade, maybe that's a typo, I'm assuming you meant degrade them using xenophobic slurs to degrade. Okay. So I'll give you some answer to this, but I'll be brief because I surmise that you don't want to understand. Every now and then, you guys will encounter people who will say, well, hey, can you explain this? Hey, I don't understand that. They do understand. They don't want what you're saying to be true, or they don't want to acknowledge the verity of what you're saying. They don't want to respect the logic. So I'll be very clear with you. So one, you say you're a big fan. I appreciate that, but just let it be known for everyone, I'm not looking for fans. I never have been. I've always come on here as a philosopher. I've always come on here as a teacher. I've never come on here as a celebrity. I've never had the goal of, like, my content, look, it's me lecturing like a professor. That's the bulk of my content. So fans are fine, but I'm not looking for fans. So that's number one. Let that be known to everyone. Then number two, when you say dragging ignorant people on your stage to, I think you meant degrade. You have a typo there, I believe. To degrade them. Oh, it's very important. You see, when you're establishing a culture, you establish ideals, saying, hey, this is the best way to think. This is the best way to dress. This is the best way to behave. This is an ideal within our culture. Then you establish the opposite. This is something we don't recommend in our culture. This is stigmatized. This is degraded. Yes? This is not the way to go. And to establish that, you must have social sanction. You must show that there's punishment associated with this to enforce the good behaviors and to deter the bad behaviors. That's why. Thank you for your question. And mind you, also when you write helps the cause, I just don't think you know what the cause is. You see, that's the problem, is a lot of you guys, you're soft Africans, you're soft blacks. You don't know what the cause is, number one. And number two, if you did know the cause, you wouldn't be able to execute on the means to achieve the goal. Well, Marquette, what do you mean? I heard somebody say, oh, you can't get black women to do this. You can't get black people to do that. I said, yes, I can, because there's a clear example of how to do it. Marquette, what say you? You genius, you. Yeah, I can get black folks to behave. Same way the slave master did. Apply force and pressure. I can get blacks to behave. Same way the colonizer did. You think I ain't paying attention? So if that's what it has to come to, we will enforce good behavior. We will force them to go in the right direction. Whatever is necessary. You think that in the pursuit of good, I will spare any measure? You think that I will allow the colonizers to outdo me? So I'll let the colonizers enact vicious methods to do bad to black people, but I wouldn't go to the same length to put us in the right direction? You don't know me well. And yes, I have learned from history. The lessons are very clear. So the reason that the black woman behaves like an unruly wench is because it's allowed. The enslaver didn't allow it, and they got in line just fine. So if that's what it must come to, then so shall it be. And for those good women, they won't have to experience that. Huh? Come on now. Yeah, these are serious times. You see, you blacks are so silly. You think that right now you can't be turned back into slaves. You think that. That's not true. That's not true. You don't notice that increasingly in the public sphere, they deride you and degrade you? They speak against your humanness? The leader of the country has identified countries that are SHIT whole countries, and they all seem to be black. He stopped immigration from countries that have open wars, like that need refugees to be able to leave, like Sudan, for example. But he still accepts them from South Africa, but only if they're white. Come on, that's not telling you all you need to know? You blacks are silly. You blacks think they can't do it to you. Yes, they can. They will. They have. They're good at it. They have a great amount of practice. They have a lot of practice in enslaving you guys and colonizing you guys. You're like, Marquette, aren't you black? Why are you saying you guys? I ain't going. I ain't going. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. I ain't going. I'm saying you guys. Because if they try that, I ain't going. Huh? You soft ones. You're the ones I'm talking about. You got a lot of practice dealing with y'all. But do you have practice in fighting back? Do you have practice in defense and offense? No, I don't think you do. Anyways, shout out to Mr. Brewer, writes, 100% agree. Don't forget to support the work, like, comment, and support the men who pulls the wool from over your eyes. I'm trying to tell you, some of them like being blind. Shout out to Beast. He writes, Peace of Saints. Mine's crash out was a response to a super chat about you two debating and offering him $30,000 to debate Tariq. He said it was a lie. Well, let me ask you guys. Ever since I've been on YouTube, can anyone identify any time I've been busted in a lie? Like even once in 6 or 7 years? You can't. Can you identify any time Fresh and Fit has been busted in a lie? They tell you that they know how to pick up girls, and then you see they're both on sugar baby websites. What do you do on sugar baby websites? You pay women to spend time with you and to do certain things. Pay for play. Oh, okay, that's weird. Myron said that he has 2 wives. It turned out when he was being interviewed by Louis Theroux, he has 0 wives, and the woman he was with looked at him like a fool and then broke up with him shortly after that. Those are lies. Fresh got some Chinese ex-worker pregnant, then claimed that he didn't. But then he had to admit it when he got exposed. Come on now. All they do is lie. All they do is lie. Yeah. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about here? I don't think they're believable characters at all. I have no incentive to make that up. I mean, think about it. I'm the first big interview they had. And they said that on stream, on the interview itself. I supported these guys for 6 years. Even when they were doing all these kind of filthy and immoral things, I never spoke against them. I only supported them for 6 years. So I think we all know that, no, I'm an honest man of integrity. It's well documented and well respected. Very good. Caught up there. Let's carry on.
28-year-old Dalton Etherly is now sitting in the Montgomery County Jail facing charges that could send him away for over 25 years. So I'm Joseph Morris, and don't forget to like. Have been filed. The victim has been publicly identified by his family. Bystander footage from outside the courthouse has surfaced, though it captures the aftermath of the incident rather than the confrontation itself. And new details about both men involved are adding layers to an already complicated.
You know, the black people, the FBA, for example, they talk about delineation, which does make some sense, no doubt about it. They talk about delineation, which is to say, like, identifying what they are and what they are not, separating themselves from other blacks, which makes sense. I mean, it's just like Germans and Italians are both white, but they do separate themselves. I understand that. But how delineated are you when, you know, the white guys are covered in tattoos, the black guys are covered in tattoos, the white guys have their ears pierced, the black guys have their ears pierced? You know, how delineated are you, right? You know, what are your cultural norms, expectations, and standards when you guys all look the same? Huh? Y'all look the same. Come on now. Yeah, we're going to have to start thinking about these things. I'm going to unpack a lot of this stuff for you guys. A lot of you guys are lost, don't even know it. You think you have an identity, you don't. I find it so funny. You know, people are like, oh, I want to be unique. I'm going to get this tattoo, express my uniqueness. Well, so many people got tattoos now. You almost got to like not have a tattoo to be unique, right? You know, if you meet a girl, you can almost predict which tattoos she has. I'll give you guys some time. Put it in the chat. What are some common tattoos chicks have? Put it in the chat. I bet we can predict some of them. Come on, go ahead. Put it in the chat. They all got the same tattoos. It's like we think that we're unique, but we're not unique. Now, there's nothing wrong with us having similarities, but it should be similar to people within our culture. Exactly. First person put butterflies. That was number one on my, then he put stars. That was exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking number one, butterflies, number two, stars. That's what I was thinking. You heard me? Somebody put tramp stamp. Absolutely. Japanese letters. Yeah, I was more so thinking Chinese letters. But yeah, we get the point, right? Bird. Exactly. And we can go on endlessly. A flower. 100%. 100%. It's all the same stuff. And there's nothing wrong with us having similar things to other human beings because frankly, none of us are that damn unique. But if we're going to have similar things, it needs to be similar to people within our culture. The Saints, yeah, we all should be known for a particular aesthetic. That's why I tell the guys when they're out on our security detail and we're about to cross the street and we're about to walk illegally, I say, no. When we're together, we need to follow all of the laws. Let's go down to that crosswalk. When we are together, we are recognizable. They can see that is the assassin. We need to go through the crosswalk. When we encounter people, yes, sir, no, madam, may I, please, thank you. We need to be known for being exceedingly polite. We are the example of a civilization. When they see us in that hat you can get at mdblabel.com. It's all black with a red flag. That means it's us. Come on now. I also acknowledge 36 writes, thoughts on Jake Shields saying Chud wasn't filled with hate and wasn't pushing for division and that the bond amount is sick. Shout out to Jake Shields. I like Jake Shields a lot. And I always look forward to seeing Jake Shields. Number one, Jake Shields has an audience that is largely white nationalist. So, you know, there's only so much he can say without alienating his base. That's number one. Number two, I don't think it's Jake Shields. There's no benefit. There's no profit in him calling it down the middle or speaking against Chud. So why would he, right? And then when he says the bond amount is sick, I mean, we're talking about attempted murder here. And lastly, we have to remember Jake Shields is not an attorney. Neither am I. That's why I already have queued up a video of an attorney reacting to this. I have the same perspective as the attorney, but I think it's worth speaking, hearing from someone who has letters. Shout out to Mello writes, saying, I recall you saying a video of the Fresh and Fit podcast Fallout would go live. Did you do it? If so, how can I see it? How can I see it? I know something about them. I knew something about them was phony. Oh, yeah, it's obvious. Everything about them was phony. I mean, did anybody really believe that they get girls? I mean, let's be real here. I don't know how anybody believed that. It never seemed realistic. But the videos were put up and then Fresh and Fit, because there's so much truth exposing them, they had the videos flagged, so they were taken down from YouTube. I can put them back up for the members. If one of the members sends me an email within 24 hours, preferably tomorrow morning, I'll get those videos put back up. Or you know what I can do? I could stream it on Kick. I could stream it on Kick if you guys are interested. We can arrange that. Mouse will acknowledge Kush came in supporting the work. Mouse will acknowledge Stop Playing Trade Rights. Recently, I was on TikTok and I saw women with no clothes. I started thinking to myself, do they know that there are kids on this app? Yeah, they know and they don't care. He writes, then, and you know, the funny thing is it's always women with no clothes, it's never men. And that's why when people are like, Mark, why are you so hard on women? I'm like, because you have to be. You don't see dudes with their meat out. You hear me? Like, hey, look at my Oscar Mayer wiener. Nah, you don't see that. It's the chicks. He writes, then I came to the realization the wicked content is for the kids. Truly, bruh, that was deep. Right, it's to influence. It's to influence. Kush writes, Peace of Saints, would you ever do a debate with Gavin McInnes? The name sounds familiar. I can't place his face or his ideology, but if he has a significant following and there's something meaningful to talk about, I'd be more than happy to do it. I must tell all of you that I only debate, either to forward my name, forward the message, the movement, but I don't debate for the sake of, persuading anyone or putting forward a point, because it's action that moves the world forward. It's not debates. I promise you that one. Gentleman writes, they are narcissistic gaslighters, bro. I'm trying to tell you, man. Professional level. NBA status gaslighting.
Story. Let's get into all of it. First, the charges. Dalton has been formally charged with attempted criminal homicide, employing a firearm during a dangerous felony, aggravated assault, and reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. He is being held at the Montgomery County Jail and is awaiting an arraignment hearing, at which point a bond amount will be set. No arraignment date has been announced as of this video. The combined charges put him at facing over 25 years in prison. Now let's talk about Joshua Fox, because his family came forward to identify him and the details matter. Joshua is a 31-year-old disabled Army veteran. His family's
So disabled Army veteran, a lot of people claim they're disabled to get paid, but it sounds like this fellow really had PTSD, which is quite sad. And, yeah, it's really a tragic thing all around, because this fella has children and he has a wife. And if you have mental issues, you just cannot lead. You cannot. And that's an unfortunate thing. And again, it's ironic that the characters who are having kids are often those who are least qualified, right? Least qualified. But that's what this world has come to. Not survival of the fittest, but survival of the weakest.
Says he suffers from PTSD and other medical conditions. He was shot in the shoulder and the stomach and was airlifted by Life Flight helicopter to Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville. As of Wednesday evening, he was in stable condition. His family confirmed he is a father of two. The fact that Josh...
But shout out to Brody, is he did this for the people. You hear me? Yeah, he did this for the people, for the black people. So I'll go ahead and tell you this. As far as I'm concerned, he's right up there with Martin Luther King. You did? Yeah, he's right up there with Martin Luther King. Not that I have any great particular respect for Martin Luther King.
Joshua is a veteran with PTSD is significant because according to Dalton's own account from his live stream, Joshua told him he had PTSD during the confrontation. Dalton recalled Joshua saying exactly that before the situation escalated. So Dalton was aware in real time that the man he was yelling at was a disabled veteran dealing with a serious condition. And
Yeah, and all of these things will be interesting. There's no doubt that the attorney that Dalton ends up with is going to wish that Dalton wasn't talking and live streaming, and all of those things will be factors. But I tell you, the greatest factor is this, because the legal system is not real, never has been, and the influence that the public can exercise is real. And if it is known in advance that if the verdict comes back being the wrong one, things are going to go left, people are going to be radicalized, unrest will resume, then I think that the white supremacist legal structure will sacrifice this Chud fellow. And that needs to happen. So there needs to be organization.
kept going anyway. Now, bystander footage from outside the courthouse did surface and has been circulating online. To be clear about what it shows, it captures the scene in the aftermath of the shooting, not the confrontation as it unfolded. It does not definitively show who provoked who or the sequence of events leading up to the shot being fired. What it does confirm is the chaos of the scene and the response by law enforcement. The district attorney's office has said the investigation is ongoing and the footage is part of that investigation. Let's talk about those posts again, because in the context of these charges, they read very differently. On May 7th, 6 days before the shooting, Dalton posted.
So this is important. This is 6 days before the shooting. And, you know, when you look at the two sides, you see that the victim, the black fellow, he does have a criminal history, but that will not be relevant in this shooting because he was not the aggressor. Meaning that you're not looking for intent or pre-planning. What you're really trying to assess is, in that moment, was he posing a threat to Chud's life? And there'll be a number of factors that are relevant. What was said between the two of them? What is the stature of this black fellow? Height and weight? How threatening did he look? Those contextual things matter. However, in the case of Chud, intention and premeditation will be considered because he was the shooter. So there's something called premeditated murder, right? So you have to consider, was there premeditation? Or was it actually self-defense? Well, when you look at this, it reads from Chud in a tweet, quote, "I will defend my life with lethal force. Do not approach me with intent to threaten bodily harm." Well, that sounds like premeditation. It's like, why are you making a tweet about that? And then days later, you end up attempting to take someone's life. And furthermore, I'd like to notify everyone that the oversimplification of bodily harm does not justify lethal force. The force has to be proportional, is what the law usually recommends, right? So if someone tries to cause you bodily harm, like for example, punching you in the face would be bodily harm. You responding with a firearm would not be proportional force. But we do know that the legal system in the United States is unreliable. The criminal injustice system is very easily manipulated, and it's run by devils. Like Trayvon Martin was a great example. The George Zimmerman fellow called the authorities and they literally told him to walk away from the situation. He literally did the opposite of what the government and the police, government and law enforcement told him to do. They still let him off, even though he provoked the situation. What did black people do in return? Nothing. What happened to George Zimmerman? Nothing. Now, until those answers change, black people will continue to be run over. So what the answer should be is, well, what happened as a result? Black people tore stuff up in every way possible. They boycotted, they rioted, they did it all. What happened to George Zimmerman? He didn't have many more breaths after that. After he got out free, he wasn't living for many more days. Until those things become reality, black people will not get their respect. And you might hear people lying, basically saying things like, oh, well, black people are violent. We could never be more violent than the whites. The whites are currently engaged in war in Palestine. The whites are engaged in war in Ukraine. The whites are engaged in war in Iran. The whites are driving wars in Sudan. I mean, come on. Like, what are we talking about? The whites created ISIS. The whites created Al-Qaeda. The whites created Al-Shabaab. No one's more violent. So that's a strategy that they use to control you, to manipulate and control you into submissive behavior. Come on now.
To publicly writing, quote, "I will defend my life with lethal force. Do not approach me with intent to threaten bodily harm," end quote. And then 10 hours before shots were fired outside that courthouse, he posted, quote, "Series finale is dead chimp on the pavement and you monkeys rioting when I walk."
See right here, this is very clear. In any upright society, Chud would have already been arrested, not because saying the N-word needs to be a crime, but rather what he was doing in intentionally provoking people in the public. He was a public nuisance, and he was well known to be a criminal, a degenerate, a deviant, and a public nuisance. So he would have already been dealt with in a proper society. But being that he was attacking black people, the favorite target of the whites, he was allowed to operate with impunity. Come on now. Now, what this establishes right here is premeditation as clear as possible. Not only is it premeditation, it's specifically identifying the demographic that he plans to enact his violent intentions on. There it is right there. We call that evidence. That's what we call that. Yeah? That's what we call that. We call that evidence. So if he's able to get off scot-free, it only validates that the government is your enemy. I think you already knew that, but black people apparently need more proof.
Free. Stay tuned. End quote. Prosecutors are going to look at those posts. Defense attorneys are going to have a very hard time explaining them away. And then there's something dull.
Well, here's the kicker is that in a white supremacist society, you might not have to explain it away, right? Because there's no realistic expectation of justice for black folks. Shout out to Mr. Simonis. He writes, Marquette, oh, by the way, bowler alert. He writes, Marquette, do you have children? If no, would you ever consider fatherhood in the United States? I address all of this in the Book of Dark Truth. Excuse me. I address part of this in the Book of Dark Truths, and I also address this in the Black Code. So you'll see this in the Black Code. Thank you for that question. And another thing with regards to what this guy just said, let me see what he had just said.
Defense attorneys are going to have a very hard time explaining them away. And then there's something Dalton said during his live stream that didn't get as much attention as it should have. While speaking to first responders, Dalton offered a theory.
Now, he's not handcuffed right here, so he's the shooter. He's not handcuffed. I think we should all consider that. He's the shooter, not handcuffed. I think that's really interesting. That's kind of atypical. And they seem to be treating him like really swell. Kind of similar to Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof was the white kid who decided that he wanted to eliminate a whole bunch of black Christians. Now, it lets you know that you black Christians, your white Christian comrades don't care about you. Apparently, they're praising a different God. Their God likes slavery, apparently. But would they take him out to Burger King before taking him to jail, right? They treat their killers so nicely, so nicely. I tell you, they pulled me over on a fake DUI and treated me like an animal. But this Baldwin just tried to end somebody's life and they treat him like a star. It's their own. That's their tribe. That's how they're operating. They're on code. Mello writes, which one of your courses are you most proud of? I'd say I'm most proud of Boss University because it's most universally useful. I think Boss University is one of the few products that I offer that I can, like anyone who says, hey, should I take it? The answer is absolutely yes. Because I'm honest, if someone says, hey, should I take the Master Communicator course? I say, well, what are your goals? If you're a construction worker and that's all you ever want to be, probably not. It's not necessary. It'll improve your relations with your lady. It'll improve your interpersonal communications, your charm. It'll improve your ability to get what you want. But you know, if you don't want to like really skyrocket, like, no, it's not necessary. Tell you the truth, save you some money. Yeah. I make my courses for specific demographics. People say, hey, should I take your course on how to create an app using AI with no coding experience? I say, well, how much money do you want to make? They're like, oh, I want to make 6 figures. Nah, don't do it. Just get a good job. Get a good job. You don't need my AI course. If they say, I want to be a millionaire, you absolutely need the course. You need it. You need it. But if you want to make 6 figures and that's cool for you, awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. Get a good job. Yeah. And by the way, let's direct everyone to my moderators. Direct everyone to peaceofthesaints.com. It's our new upgraded website. And that's where we recommend you get your membership.
About why he was being confronted in the first place. He said, quote, they're all publicly saying if y'all assault this guy, we'll make you rich, end quote. He was essentially suggesting that wealthy people were paying strangers to attack him. No evidence has been presented to support that claim, and it raises serious questions about—
Yeah, this fellow Dalton is a liar and a grifter. He saw that he can get popular by saying crazy stuff, and he did it. He's executed the plan, and he's not the only person who does whatever is easy to get popular or to be relevant. Sneeko does the same thing. Sneeko was like, Andrew Tate starter pack. Like whoever's hot, Sneeko's all over him. Whatever the trend is, Sneako's all over it. And shout out to them. Like, they know how to figure out like how to stay in the algorithm, how to, get popular. But once the trend is over, their Sneako is searching for a new identity. That will work if your core demographic audience are like 15-year-old boys, because they're also searching for identity. But grown men can see that you're not authentic. I mean, there are people who like for example, just yesterday, white man will walk up to me, "Hey man, I love your stuff. Hey, keep going." White man will walk up to me, "Hey man, like I see what you're doing. Love it." They don't have any issue with the things that I say that may be related to race, apparently, because it's factual. It's factual. It's factual. The people who have a problem with what I say are the people who have a problem with the truth. The truth.
Dalton's grip on what was actually happening around him that day. Now here's where the story gets complicated, and I want to be straightforward about this because it matters. Joshua Fox is not without his own legal history. In April 2024, officers in Clarksville responded to a domestic incident at a Tower Drive apartment involving Joshua. According to reports at the time, his wife—
Yeah, sounds like he's been having some issues with PTSD. He's been lashing out at people. Not surprising at all.
The argument fired officers. He grabbed a screwdriver and held it to her side. Officers located both the— he would deserve on a confrontation and fire a weapon. A man's prior legal record is not a justification for being shot. And the fact that Joshua—
Yeah, correct. I would say that's obvious, but almost nothing is obvious because increasingly the population is brainless, and that unfortunately goes across all the racial demographics in the West.
is a disabled veteran with PTSD standing outside a courthouse, is now recovering from 2 gunshot wounds. That is the reality of what happened here, regardless of what either— Dalton was arrested at an upscale Nashville steakhouse after allegedly refusing to pay a nearly $400 bill, and not before—
Right, and Dalton's a degenerate, and this is why I have to take over the white supremacist movement, because the whites who are currently trying to lead it are the least of whites. These are not the innovative ones. These are not the hardworking, industrious ones. These are the ones who have no skills. They have checkered backgrounds. They're sexually deviant. You guys have probably all saw the photograph of Dalton in a dress. And you've also heard from the black female who said she used to take him up the backside. So these are the kind of characters, in the white supremacist movement, which is why I have to take over. Shout out to Mr. Thompson, writes, support for the stream came in via PayPal. Appreciate you. May also acknowledge Kalen. He writes, tuition for the game, also about girls with tattoos. I'm in the Philippines right now and just dealt with a girl who had all those tattoos, Japanese letters, flowers, and a puppy. Hey, bro, I'm trying to tell you. And that just lets you know that they have to be programmed. That's it. So what you guys need to understand is not how are we going to get these women to get on program. The only issue is that there's been no program. So in the absence of us having a program for our nation, for our tribe, it's been a situation whereby they're following the programming of the greater society, which is a sick program. Huh? Yes. That's all that's happening. That they follow what's available, and not enough that is good is available. Huh?
Or finishing the entire meal. He was charged with theft of services, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest. Reports—
Now, again, when people talk about white privilege, and mind you, I don't have a problem with white privilege. I love privilege. I'm always trying to get more privilege for myself and for those who are part of my family and a part of my tribe, a part of the Sasson. It's Sasson or nothing. You dig? And Sasson is not something that discriminates based on race or religion or any of the above. We want privilege. You dig? We absolutely want privilege. We want privilege. We want advantage, all of it. Now, with regards to white privilege, yes, a real thing. And of course, you'd expect that whites have privilege in a society wherein they are the majority. I mean, that makes perfect sense. It'd be weird if they didn't have privilege or advantage, right? Like, equality is not a real thing. If you think equality is real, you are a fool. That being said, the idea that Chud goes into a restaurant and says, I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay. You don't hear a black guy say, I'm not going to pay, and then stand around and then walk out casually. You might have some knucklehead I got to stop it. You might have some knuckleheads who are degenerates try to run out on a check, be they male or female, white or black, but they're not going to just walk out like nothing's going to happen under that belief. That's white privilege for sure, right? Like that's what it is the idea that you can break the rules or the rules of the society don't apply to you, especially while he was in there, not only being a cause of disharmony, he was also racially insulting the worker who I believe was of Indian ancestry. And shout out to my Indians. And, you know, that's the issue is that as long as the racism is aimed at minorities, people of color, then it's fine. And the funny thing too, when Chud is described in mainstream media, in legacy media, he's described as racist. No, I think we probably ought to call him anti-black. And then when they say racial slurs, it's not racial slurs. It's like generally the N-word. I think it's worth being specific, right? When the Jews are insulted, they say anti-Semitism. They don't say racism. Let's get specific, right? Let's tell the truth of the matter.
He began yelling racial slurs at the restaurant before announcing he had no intention of paying. So within the same week, restaurant arrest, formal charges pending, and then a shooting outside a courthouse where he was.
Wait, you know what? I'm listening to all this and I find it very strange that the popular media is not calling him a thug. He's stealing. He's getting into all these situations, assaults, and then a shooting. He's a thug. I suppose if he's black, we'd have to call him a thug by now. Like, at what point are we going to call this thug a thug?
Was due to appear as a defendant in a separate civil case over $3,300 in unpaid debt. Claire Martin, who works in an attorney's office across the street from the courthouse, put it plainly, saying, quote, "He is well known in Clarksville for antagonizing people to see what he can."
Now, it's funny. They keep saying antagonizing people. That's antagonizing blacks. And it is due to that imprecision, that intentional imprecision that you find that when the solution is supposed to come, the solution does not benefit blacks specifically, because when the problem was described, it wasn't described as a problem being targeted at blacks. So that's why when the solution comes, it's also not targeted for blacks. Marquette, what's an example of that? I don't know. Civil rights movement? A lot of people rode on that one. A lot of people rode on it. White women rode on it. Latinos rode on it. A lot of people rode on it. Come on now.
Get them to do, end quote. She added that he's not a contributing member of society. Claire didn't witness the confrontation, but she saw the aftermath, and she noted that Joshua waved at bystanders watching as he was loaded into the ambulance. He had just been shot twice, and he waved. Montgomery County Sheriff John Fuson addressed the community following the charges, saying, quote, "It's unfortunate that incidents like this are happening to make sure those responsible are county, including the annex building, wasn't inflammatory again, treated it like content, and called himself a free speech patriot while doing it."
Yeah, free speech. And you got to ask yourself, well, if you're about free speech, why is your speech only targeted toward black people, like against black people? It's strange. You're not about free speech, little buddy. Free speech, the speech that, is supposed to be protected is speaking against the government, right? They're the ones that have the power to stop you. Minority, such as black Americans, 10% of the population, financially in disrepair, with no political power, they can't control your freedom of speech, right? So let's be real, let's be honest here. May I acknowledge? Shout out to Carl. He writes, "Peace of Saints, it must be game time." Oh, indeed it is. May I also acknowledge Carter came and wrote Thug the Builder. Yes, indeed, but he's not even a builder, right? Just call little buddy Thug. He's never built a thing. Shout out to Brandeis writes, "How do you deal with toxic family, Marquette?" I don't. I absolutely don't. I kid you not. He writes, "I feel guilty when I'm around them because the I love yous feel fake." They are fake. He writes, "But cutting them off completely feels extreme." You need the Book of Dark Truths. That's what you need, the Book of Dark Truths. You can get that at school, skool.com/Marquette/classroom. He writes, "What do you recommend?" I recommend you do the rational thing, not the emotional thing. He writes, "Distance myself, avoid them." Yes, at the least. He writes, "Try to work through it anyways." No. He writes, "I'm totally conflicted." Don't be. It's not necessary. You see, that is your heart and your goodness working against you because you've not properly calibrated it. Well, Marquette, what do you mean? What I mean is this. We have a 3-sentence Bible. Be yourself, be good to yourself, be good to good people. Be yourself, be good to yourself, Be good to good people. Here's a question. Are they good people? Sounds like they're not. Okay, that makes things simple then, doesn't it? Be good to good people. They're not good people. You don't need to deal with them. You don't need to be around them. And if you do, certainly you're not doing them any favors. That wouldn't make sense because the favor's never going to come back, which means that they'd be using you, which is generally what people do when they're not good people.
And then on May 13th, a disabled Army veteran with PTSD told him to stop. And somewhere in that confrontation, a gun was drawn. Joshua Fox is recovering in a hospital. His family has come forward. His children are without their father while he heals. And Dalton is in jail, facing over 25 years with a...
Now, here's another thing I want to point out to all of the people who are in prison. I know, in truth be told, some people, you might like Marquette, like, what makes you think you have fans in prison? I have fans who are in jail, who are in prison, who watch me from jail and from prison. Yes. I have fans who are in jail currently who watch me from jail and from prison. I have fans who have gotten out of jail and prison recently who tell me how they watch me on the cell blocks. So for those of you who may be there, if you encounter Dalton, do God's work. Do God's work. We don't need the judge. You be the judge. You judge if you approve of his behavior. And then you go ahead and execute on whatever the verdict is. Hold court and then, make the verdict and then levy the punishment. Because I don't think we need to wait.
Trail of social media posts that prosecutors are almost certainly already printing out. There is nothing about this that looks like self-defense when you zoom out and look at the full picture. And the community of Clarksville apparently is not surprised. So here is where I want to ask you something. Given everything we know about Dalton's content, his posts leading up to this, and the fact that he was the one who opened fire, do you think the self-defense claim holds any weight at all? Drop your answer below. If you enjoyed this video,
and shout out to this gentleman who put up that content. I appreciate you. And that was the first time I ever saw the fella. So yeah, thank you to him. Seems like a fair guy, seems like an upright person. And shout out to the good peoples of the earth. Anyways, I thought it was quite interesting. So Dalton versus and I don't know why they used this picture of this guy. I mean, just so bizarre. But the disabled veteran fighting for his life raised $36,000, but the racist streamer who shot him raised over $100,000. And this needs some level of explanation. Number one, I think it makes perfect sense because generally black folks don't support that which really benefits them. I have a training center that I've been funding to support boys and girls, men and women, in their development and reaching their goals, in their conditioning and enculturation, and it'd be a hub for all the things that a boy needs to know to grow into a man, and a girl needs to develop into a woman, and to support the ongoing success of men and women. Has that been funded at the level that it needs to be? No, not at all. Far cry from it. So it's not surprised that the black fellow, who at some level is a hero to black people, certainly more than a George Floyd, he's not been funded at a significant level. Now, do I recommend you fund him? No, not at all. Absolutely not. Well, Marquette, why is that? Because we need to be focused on that which is most critical, development and the future. We already know, unfortunately, the gentleman has mental health issues. Those are not going to be fixed. I'm sorry. Mental health does not get fixed. I'm sorry. Ask the psychologist and the therapist how many people they've healed. 0. What we do need to focus on is controlling our culture and raising up our children. That is where the money needs to be focused. Furthermore, the other reason that Dalton, the racist, has raised more money than the black fellows because the white population is 6 times bigger than the black population. So of course, it's going to be more money. Now, granted, that's not all whites, that's of the racist ones, but apparently there's enough of them. And whites have more money on average, more assets and liquidity than black people. So of course, there's going to be a greater pot to pull from. So that's just the facts. It's how it breaks down financially. So that was worth noting. Oh, and also shout out to all the saints who have supported the training center. I think the link is in the description of the video. I thank you to those who have supported. We always have to remember to acknowledge the good peoples who are doing the work. Shout out to Arthur. Arthur, I think, put up 10,000 on the training center. Shout out to all the folks who have put up significant donations. Shout out to the folks who put up less significant, but they do it every single month. They give what they can. I respect and I appreciate it. And I want everyone to know that unlike, say, Dr. Umar, the training center that I'm building, you cannot donate any way other than through the GoFundMe. Why? So that you know exactly how much money has been donated, so that there's no way for fraud, waste, and abuse, so that you can see the GoFundMe, oh, 60,000 has been donated. So when we start spending the money, you'll see 60,000 donated, 60,000 spent, not for me, not to sustain my life, but on the building, on the things that are necessary to create the space to train the kids and to support the adults. Whereas guys like Dr. Umar, you can't track the dollars because he's accepting money through checks, through money orders, through PayPal, through Cash App, through GoFundMe. And so nobody knows how much he's raised. Nobody knows how many millions he's squandered. Carrying on.
18 rounds for you. We ain't got nothing else. Don't follow me in my truck. Like, I mean, you're pandering to the niggas, bro. We already know that's what you're doing.
Have a good one, Chud.
Tape on her way into the Montgomery County Court Center.
They were like, oh, there was a shooting.
But when she saw who was involved,
It's actually not surprising. It feels like it was one of those things that was bound to happen.
Roberts took this video showing controversial online streamer 28.
I mean, it's kind of weird when you think about it, ladies and saints. She said it was bound to happen, but was it bound to happen this way? I mean, when you really think about it, Chud is just one guy. So how is it that one guy who's insulted an entire community of people, one guy who's insulted an entire community, how is it that when something finally does pop off, he basically won? He won the situation. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I think that only shows the weakness of the population he was dealing with, right? Because theoretically, he shouldn't have won that. That should have been an L for him. But it wasn't, because the black people in America, the foundational black Americans, are not organized. And they're not on one accord. There's not one ideology. There's not one way of thinking. There's not one way of moving and acting. Huh? Come on now. Yeah. That's why.
Year-old Dalton Etherly being wheeled away on a stretcher. According to the district attorney general for the area, Etherly and another man got into a fight.
Boy, they sure are not treating that boy like a criminal. They seem like they're real nice to him. Huh? Shout out to the ballers. Second baller alert. Same gentleman. He writes, just trying to say, I like the things you say and liked your book. Is there content on your platform that can give me context into the goal? I have no problem educating myself. My father was a professor. I'm a corporate exec and lifelong learner. I come in peace. Well, that's good. Pretty much everyone comes in peace. No one comes for war, not for me. But you see, some of those things might be problematic. So for example, and I'm not anti-intellectual, I'm pro-intellectual. But I'll note some things. So when you say, I'm just trying to say, I like the things you say, I appreciate that. And he says, I liked your book, and I appreciate that. Those of you who haven't read The Black Box, I trust you'll find it to be a book of guidance for our day, hopefully a book of inspiration. He writes, is there content on your platform that can give me context into the goal? One thing we encourage people, the way you learn culture is among human beings. Like generally, you're not gonna learn culture from a book. You're going to learn it from other individuals. That's how human beings get enculturated, through example, through observation. So I encourage you, peacetothesaints.com, if someone can drop the link, that's where you can join. There is exclusive content there, but most importantly, it would allow you to join a section and meet up with the guys. And that would be a great way in. Now, I don't know if you're black, but if you are black, and you don't need to be black, absolutely not, but I'm releasing the Black Code. I think that'll give you a great insight if you are black. Here, I have no problem educating myself. My father was a professor. We'll see, that's why I say that might be problematic, because the education in the West especially effeminizes. It effeminizes. It also poisons. And the kind of poison is this ideology of endless acceptance of filth and immorality, of sexual deviance. It effeminizes the male. Even from primary school, it teaches the male to learn in ways that are typically female, sedentary, making you listen and obey and follow directions. It's not tactile, it's not physical. So it trains you in a way that is fundamentally female. And there's a great amount of research on that. I've many books listed that elaborate on this. If you go to amazon.com/shop, SHOP/The Saint and the Sinner, one of those books is by Valerie Hoff Summers. You can find the specific one listed there. There's a number of titles there. He writes, I'm a corporate exec and a lifelong learner. I come in peace. Well, again, maybe you're part of the intelligentsia. Your father was a professor, you're a corporate exec. And the challenge with the intelligentsia is that their lives are too cushy for them to take real action because you're benefiting from the system as it is. Me too. I'm part of the intelligentsia as well. I have multiple degrees from top 20 universities. I've founded software businesses. I've made oodles of money. I have property and fancy cars, and I've traveled the world many times over. So yeah, me too, buddy. Like I'm the way the world is right now, I'm getting on just fine. But being a part of the intelligentsia, you have no natural incentive to try to help the people or change the world because the world's fine, right? I drive a Maybach. Yeah, I'm sure you drive something nice. I have a multi-million-dollar house. I'm sure maybe you do too. Why would I want to change the world, right? So the questions you might be inclined to ask, well, what's wrong with the world? Well, for you and I, not much, right? Not much. What can be wrong with the world? I just called down to room service and ordered dessert, and they said, hey, if we heat up your cake, there's mousse in it, so it'll melt. I said, I'm not sure how that'll taste. Give me two. Yeah, give me two. You know, I'll just eat the one that I like. I'll throw away the other one. I'll just pay for it. Right? Why not? We can afford it. Now, while we can afford to do that, there are people who can't afford to put gas in their car to get to a job that they don't even want to go to. While we do things like that, there are people who are having to look at the prices in the grocery store and try to calculate if they can fill up a cart with groceries to feed their family. And these are working people. And I would like to point out to you that I'm not one of those fools who say things like, I can't believe we're bombing these countries and we still have homeless people. F the homeless people. I don't care about them. You know who I care about? I care about the working people, because that's what I come from. I come from working people. I come from the working class. I don't come from homeless people. I come from people who work hard. White people, black people, Latinos. I come from people who have jobs and they have second jobs and they have graveyard shifts and they have overtime. So that's what I'm about. I'm not about housing the homeless. I'm about housing the people who are working. I'm about making sure that the working people don't have to work too hard. There's nothing wrong with working hard enough, but they shouldn't have to work too hard. And the reason that they have to work too hard is because the government is stealing and not giving enough back. So I think that if you are, in fact, educated, which it appears is the case, and you are high IQ and well off, which appear to be the case, if you take a sincere heart to this ism, then you will see that everything I say is in sincerity and seriousness, and you are in a position where you could join and be a great asset if your heart is pure. It would only be the impurity that would stop you from understanding what we're trying to do. Thank you for that question, and I appreciate the support, sincerely. Carrying on.
Outside the courthouse, which then escalated into
Well, he's not lying. I already told y'all we used to smoke. He used to sell me. And we did raw dog. A lot. Me, him, and my ex-wife.
And this person is a degenerate. This individual here, I don't know if they're male or female, but one thing I do know is that they're not a good person. And they said that they used to use drugs with Dalton. And within this thing of ours, we speak against drugs. It is something that is destructive to the self. And probably if you're high, you're probably destructive to the society as well. Shout out to Irvin. Just went and got some drip at mdblabel.com. Oh man, and he got the baby bodysuit for the babies, for the young children, the infants and everything. He got a couple pieces. He got the sticker, bubble-free sticker. I actually have that one on my computer right now, the Assassin sticker. He got the limited edition mesh shorts. I got to get those. I think I already ordered them, but I'm going to make sure. I'm also going to put them out in black just because I really like them. We have black athletic shorts, but they're not mesh. I'm gonna put out the black ones because I want to match the football jerseys for the big game conference. And shout out to all of the Saints growing their families. As I said, what we do is all about family, and we want to make sure that all the good peoples of the earth procreate in high numbers. All the good peoples of the earth procreate in high numbers.
Professional pegger. It is no secret that I perform prostate massages, if you will, for men. I've been doing it for a very long time now. Most of my clientele is white.
And so I'm not surprised that this individual is saying this. I'm not surprised that Dalton is a perv. And this is one of the things that we teach against, consuming adult content. We want a clean mind, a clean diet, clean spirit. And this is something that is unique in the modern world, especially in the West. So we offer a great value to people. Shout out to Civilized Barbarian, right? Spot on. The only educational system is deeply feminized and feminist. Do you think we should have a school for each gender? I think that, learning arithmetic and reading together is fine, but certainly there should be a separation of the genders because there are certain pieces of education that are critical to each gender. The females have a different biology, so their anatomy class should probably be separate and highly focused. In addition, the gender should be taught how to better relate to one another. And also, in terms of socializing, we should teach the women what is on the females, the girls, what is on their trajectory to become a wife mother, and there are skills that are required to be a good wife mother. And for the men, there are skills that are involved in achieving the ends of the male trajectory. So those pieces of education should be separate. Shout out to Jonathan as well. Went and got the men's athletic shorts from mdblabel.com. Those are cold, a true favorite of mine.
If you will, for men. I've been doing it for a very long time now. Most of my clientele is white men. We sign NDA agreements with a big.
Yeah, and I believe her, and that's unfortunate. You hear me? That's unfortunate. That is just all around unfortunate.
I have not Dalton since like 2015. He was,
and I believe her. She doesn't seem like she's lying. We saw her engaging him, and he acknowledged her. So I don't see why all of a sudden she just lie and start making up stuff. Seems pretty real to me. Shout out to Afrofuture writes, Nigerian. Thanks for taking the time to explain. I applaud your efforts. I wish you and your team all the best. I appreciate that. And shout out to my Nigerians, especially my Nigerians who are part of SAS in Africa. Shout out to all of my Africans. SAS in Africa is headquartered in Nigeria, but we appeal to Africans throughout the continent. We also have a huge section huge population in South Africa as well. And the truth of the matter is that one of the major things we're working on in SAS in Africa is identity. Identity is at the core of the problems in Africa. What is it to be black? Loving your blackness. Huge issues with that.
A little chubbier then. His cheeks used to clap.
All right, what's up with the YouTube fam? I'm back again with another video. Get out of character. He has been.
You're pandering to the niggas, bro. We already know that's what you're doing.
Have a good one, Chud.
Yeah, you too. Go chimp out.
Nah, you watch what you say.
Or what, Nick? You want to get maced right now or what? Come on.
Buddy is funny. Buddy is funny. And shout out to these fellas for not taking the bait. But despite, beyond not taking the bait, there should have been an organized effort to deal with Lil Buddy. You can't just have him walking around, because what people don't realize is that he is radicalizing hatred, and he is creating an organizing location for those who would disrespect and hurt black people. So they organize on his page, on his Twitter, they come together, and it is in their unity that they become a major threat to black people.
Come chimp out. Come chimp out. Come on, follow us over here away from the kids. Come on. Come chimp out. That's what
Now the funny thing is, again, I'm talking military strategy. So there was one of him. It appears he didn't even have a cameraman with him that time. He was holding the camera. So if there's 3 of you, 1 of him, why are you guys not surrounding him in a triangle formation? Why are you guys making the approach from the same place? How's it 3 of you? He feels that safe. Why can't 2 of you get off camera? You know, there are just so many things that could have been done. I mean, if they wanted to get something done, they might not have been the ones, but we must all be in a militant mindset and position. And these are the things I talk about in the Black Codes, which will be released on Friday. Exactly. So he can't record them all at the same time. Precisely, 100%. And then also there are other means of attack that can be engaged at distance. Somebody could be farther away, launching rocks. There are all kinds of things that were not utilized. Jonathan writes, good evening. I'm in the military and get out in about a year. I'm in the medical field. I'm wondering if I should stick with the medical field or move to tech, where I see a lot of advancement. Thanks in advance. You could actually do both. Sometimes there's the idea that when you come to a fork in the road, you can go down both sides. Health tech is big and expanding, as is fintech, as is, fill in the blank with a number of meaningful verticals. But I really do like medical. So when you say tech, I mean, everything has tech increasingly. So it's really hard to separate tech from a given vertical. So what I would find for you to be best positioned in, the best way to position yourself is to bring tech to a vertical that you know well. So in this case, medical. And that's something that we can talk more about. One thing I encourage you, and in fact, I encourage all of you guys, on Monday, I'm having a business show. I think it's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can check on the channel. And we're talking business. We're answering questions. It's basically like you can call in and get a quick consultation. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this, or this is how I want to get some money, or do you think this is a bad idea? And we'll tell you. Also, some more of my students from my AI course are going to show their technology. So it'll give you a sense of what someone like you can build, right? If you're like, hey, I didn't go to college, or I did go to college, but I didn't do anything technical, you can see what other folks similar to yourself have created and see the sophistication of the products and the nature of the revenue models, and ask yourself realistically, can I do that? Maybe I can do that. So it'll give you some ideas, and most importantly, you get to hear the conversation, the criticism, and see what they did well and what they need to improve, and you can learn the processes of business, because business is it's a process. You're refining to perfection. You're refining your business model, you're refining your product until you find the success that's going to allow you to thrive for a lifetime. Shout out to Life supporting the work. I appreciate you. You've been coming in consistently. And shout out to all the folks who came in by PayPal and Venmo that allows us to skip over the Google Corporation, which is a censorship corporation. Nathan writes, have you seen academics debate Sneeko on the, I haven't seen it, but I heard the highlight of it. People say academics did well. Shout out to Civilized Barbarian. He writes, what's ironic is that they call us violent and low impulse control individuals, but these videos are the irrefutable evidence of the opposite. Well, as I said, they are great deceivers, so evidence has never been an issue with them. They don't need it. Melvin writes, is the Stripe link in the description for the training center? No, there's a GoFundMe link for the training center, so that every dollar that is donated to the training center is accounted for. It's publicly visible, so that you guys know how much was raised. And most importantly, when we finally allocate the funds, you know how much is spent. You know that all of your money went to the training center. It didn't go to Marquette DeVon Burton. It didn't go to my life or my lifestyle. It went to a building that's going to support boys and girls, men and women, just like you, to develop in a way that will allow them to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. And it'll be as clear as day. And we got a lot of folks involved. Shout out to Chud, who's been a great help in organizing the effort and keeping an eye on the dollars and cents. And that's one thing that we always teach our men especially, is to be honest and transparent, create records and operate in writing in your business dealings. Ladies and saints, and there's a link for it right there. This is also in the link linked in the description of the video. Thank you all for supporting the work. Let us end this with our tradition, the Creed of the Assassin. Repeat after me with full conviction, knowing this is true of you. The Creed of the Assassin. I am going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable, and I'm going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am. Until next time, peace to the saints.